What is good, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy King, guys. This is King Reacts the World. We are here with Dr. Hines. He's out here about to give us a hot take on this whole situation that just went down with Andrew Tate and the BBC. And as we just found out recently, they deleted the video because of the overwhelming positive reaction from people in regards to Mr. Andrew Tate, and spamming the positive comments in the BBC, probably spamming the dislike button as well, because they cut what was approximately a 40-minute interview, 30 to 40-minute interview, down to 12 minutes, cutting approximately 2/3 of the whole interview down. That's crazy. That is crazy. So just going to react to a few points in the interview and give our hot takes on what we think about it, what we think, was being said, and what was being said, and how we think Andrew did overall, and whether he's a bad guy or not. And we'll go from there. Alrighty? So first clip we're going to check out is going to be dealing with it's going to be to do with the victims, and after I'm going to look at emotional manipulation, and we're going to go from there. Okay, so let's just check out this quick clip. I'm going to try and be militant with this, just in and out. Alrighty. Alright, 3, 2, 1, here we go.
File criminal charges against me, I will fight them. I know who I am, I know what I've done, and I know the truth, and I know that I'll be found innocent of this attack. The reason I'm being attacked is because of my massive influence, not because I've ever hurt anybody. And for you to sit here and say that everybody around you is saying you're innocent, but that doesn't matter because the state will say they're victims, and they're just going to grab everybody you know and call everybody victims, even if they say they're not, and try and put you in jail. You are describing a matrix attack. You're not describing human trafficking.
I'm describing women who are going to court to accuse you of rape and human trafficking.
We will see what women go. We will see what women go to court at the end of this trial. We'll see which women go to court.
Can I finish, please?
We'll see which.
So quickly, right there, boom, bam. The first thing we had there is obviously Andrew talking about the whole situation and how the state, with the law of Romania, they've deemed the women victims, even though most of the women involved in the court case have self-explained that they are not actually victims. But due to the law in Romania, they are deemed as victims, because obviously the victims can have a say apparently, which is very interesting. And on the two American women who actually are the quote-unquote victims, who the text messages leaked, who were in discussions of leaving Romania and escaping with another girl. Those two girls, when they left Romania, they left and have been in contact with Romanian police after the incident. So they are in the wind. That's why Andrew is so confident in saying, let's see which girls appear at the trial, because clearly those two girls are gone. They're living their best lives in the Maldives or wherever they went, with whatever guys they went with. And the girls who are left don't deem themselves as victims. So what do you think about the whole victim situation in Romania and the girls who have fled the situation?
Well, I mean, it's a sticky one because technically, when you look at if you were to look at this in a domestic violence context, right, it will be seen as coercive control in the method that he's using to, get these girls. Like, that's if we believe, because he says he doesn't mean it like this and that. There's a whole different take that it's all satire, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just offering the kind of argument of that. But let's take it as his satire defense is actually truth, right? Let's just say that's true. The actions of the girls, based on them, running to the Maldives or somewhere, like, as you publicly said, and the ones that are remaining that says that they're not victims, it doesn't do it. It actually adds to his credibility a lot more than I actually thought, because technically speaking, when I believe the interviewer brought up the scenario again, and then brought up this girl, Sophie, I think her name was.
Yeah, the imaginary the UK Sophie, apparently, yeah.
The UK Sophie. And then he's like, okay, criminal charges. Was he brought it? Like, and he gave this analogy to say, you have searched all these women that are all connected to me, and all these women have not come forward. I am the most known man, hated right now. You would think there will be a drove of them waiting just to bring them down.
Yeah,
they haven't done it. None of them. It's just these two that are remaining that are saying that they're not victims, and the courts have decided that they are victims because they are now seeing that they are been manipulated and brainwashed. It says all those, the way he has maneuvered it, I thought it was clever on his part, because when you look at it, it does seem like the truth does line up on his favor. But I actually don't know, because when I look at that, he did say those things on camera.
Yeah. Yeah, he did say it.
I'm
He did
sorry.
say, he did say.
That was everything I explained, was to take his satire as truth. Like, yes, it was satire.
But he did
does
say,
favor him. It does
yeah.
favor him.
If it was satire, it does favor him. But he did say it, and he has repeated it multiple times to the point where you have to question it. Like, is it really satire? Because even in some of his videos, he does say, "I'm like James Bond. I use these women to get money. That's it. I don't even like being with these women. Most of them. I just want to, be James Bond with it, have my money, and that's pretty much the end goal here: become successful and have more money."
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see. Like, it's very interesting because I don't know if this had happened the other way around, if there'll be any accountability being held on a woman. If a woman had manipulated a man to the extent that obviously he's manipulated these women, quote unquote, to where he's gotten them in businesses that are sexual industries when they were not in sexual industries before. And again, I think a few of the women he's worked with were in the industry before. But as he said on his website, the old website, which he denies is his website, but it's actually his website.
Bad move, by the way.
That was so bad, bro.
Bad move.
That was so bad.
I thought he started off really poorly with that, because I was like,
I saw a website. I saw a website.
That's your site. Move on, because
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
nothing that they
We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that one.
From the fact that you said XYZ, that's it. You deny it exists. I'm like, bro, I've been there.
Yes,
like,
man.
I didn't pay for the course, but I know it's yours.
Yeah.
But I saw what he was trying to play around and try to say, oh, I didn't own it, so therefore it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Get to that, but why do you have to say, like,
It's nothing to do with me. I was just like a character on the screen, and no, like, come on, bro. It's a bit mad. It's a bit mad. But again, the evidence is a little weak for this case for it to go fully through. But anyway, let's move forward here with this emotional manipulation, because the next clip is gonna talk about the interviewer Lucy. We appreciate your work here. We're gonna look at how she talks about the manipulation he did throughout this whole situation. So yeah, let's check this out. Oh, this is intense, bro. Alrighty, let's go.
I'm describing women who are going to court to accuse you of rape and human
Sophie hasn't gone to court. Sophie doesn't
and
exist.
I'm describing women who have spoken to the BBC at length
Sophie doesn't exist.
and other media organisations about what they say is emotional manipulation and coercion. And I'm quoting back to you your own words where you describe
They're not my words.
coercion.
They're words
manipulation.
you found on the internet, and Sophie doesn't exist.
On
So
your
let's move on to
website,
the next subject.
In your voice.
Move on to the next subject.
No, I think I'll stick on this one for a minute. So there's other places in that same website where you say you get girls to fall in love with you and they do it because they love you, because they want to do what you say. Convincing women to take part in some kind of business arrangement doesn't work long term because they're emotional. You've got to get them to fall in love with you.
Once
That's
again,
coercion, that's emotional manipulation, that's abuse.
what you found are clips from the internet, some text from the internet, and you're going to sit here and tell me that that's the reason I should be
Your
put in jail.
website, your words.
It's not my website.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Check my website. Next.
Okay. Woo! Yo, my man Point Blank said, not my website. Next question. And this is funny because he's obviously revamped his website, deleted all that old website shit. So as it stands, his new website obviously does not have that on, but his old website did, clear as day. I saw it. Almost everyone I know has seen it. And he was, braggadocious about how he understands women and how he can get them to work and be productive because women are inherently lazy. He's spoken about this on multiple times, on multiple podcasts. And, it's interesting because he calls himself a pimp as well, a positively, inspirationally motivating person, because he tries to motivate these women to make more money for him, make more money for themselves, when inherently they would not want to, probably put in as much effort as he's encouraging them to do. So, interestingly, the word manipulation, itself, the word is not a bad thing, but the connotation that is attached to the word manipulation is bad. But manipulation is essentially convincing someone to do something they might not have wanted to do.
Yeah.
Parents do this all the time. Teachers do this all the time to get kids to, behave in class and do things they don't want to do. Kids don't want to do certain things. Teachers convince them. Manipulation, but that's okay because for the betterment of the child. In this situation, it's tough because the situation is obviously for the betterment of himself, but again, it's also for the women have made money. If all these women were completely swindled out of the money they made, they would be up in arms and they would have made some type. They would have come out in droves saying, "We didn't get paid. This guy gave us nothing, zero money." But in his own admission in some of the videos, he gave the money, but not as much as 50-50 split. It was probably more like 75 to him, 25% to them, and him claiming that the other percentage, the other 25% from their side is going to tax and whatnot. But obviously, he was not going to tax because the man was not taxing his businesses like that by his own admission. But that could be satire. Who knows? As he said. But to me, it makes sense. It makes sense. If you get women, 2 seconds. If you get women who are not in the industry, who don't understand how the tax works for these sex businesses, you get them to fall in love with you, and you say, "Babe, this is just me and you. It's just a business. You know what I mean? I don't care about the other girls, but you and me, keep it between us. But this is a business for you and me. I'm gonna give you this money. We're gonna have a good time together." And he tells the same thing to the other women. They all want to perform. They all want to do the thing because they feel like they're in love with him. But they don't know, obviously, that there needs to be a contract because it's a real business. Yeah. And they leave that up to him as the man of the household and as the the head of the house. So they trust him to do that. Obviously, there's a level of control and coercion there where but at the end of the day, those women are also benefiting. But is it bad? To me, yes, it's bad because obviously he's not being completely forthright. But is it to the level of arrest and jail? That's a sticky one. And is it easy to prove such a thing? It's hard. So I don't know if that's gonna happen. But what's your take on it? This manipulation business.
Okay, going back to the satire premise once more to try and illustrate this, to try and maybe get what he may have been trying to get out. I don't see how different it is for him to put up this persona, like this persona, and say, "Yeah, I'm saying all these inflammatory things so that I can get more subscribers to adopt this business model, sign up for my course, and get this kind of this kind of lifestyle." Because he could have done something like that and then turn around to the women and present them a completely different contract. You know what I mean? Like, where, I mean, from what he was describing and from hearing everything, it sounds like someone that is probably has 30% of the business, while the girls that would have 70%. And he's just getting 30% here, 30% here, 30% here, 30% here. And when you add it all up, he will still make a lot of money, but the girls would make more.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So
when I think of it like that, not saying these are accurate or true figures, but it's like 20. It wouldn't be.
If he's taking 30% of all the girls, he's making way more than all the girls, which should be proportionally greater than every individual girl the money they're making. Cool, that makes sense. Yeah.
So basically, it's like, remember those babe station like channels, for example. Like, I don't know how their contract will work, but I can't imagine any girls turning up and doing that regularly and making a decent living if the company is taking their entire stake. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
no,
I can't imagine that big, because it's a big network. They need the girls to keep coming in. And again, I don't know how their financials work, etc. But I would imagine that they would have a contract like that where they would take like probably 10 to 20% to 20%, etc. Because, and I'm basing that off being a creator on YouTube. For example, YouTube is not going to take your 100% or 80% ad revenue, or super chat, for example. They might get super chat.
They get 30% of that. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but again, like I said, I don't see how what he's doing is different from those. But I don't know.
I think
But I can see him putting on the front and then turning around and offering something completely different.
Yes. So on face to face, he's obviously producing this front of him being a player, being this, that, and the other, which he is a player. Let's be real. But him presenting this front, but then at the end of the day, he's treating the women fairly and giving them, amicable splits with him and them, and everyone's happy overall.
I mean, if he's calling himself a PIMP, as as you've put it,
Positively, inspirationally motivating
is
person.
that actually his thing? Is that
That's what
actually,
he used to say he is. Yeah,
I mean,
a pimp.
to me, that sounds like a marketing advertisement. That's a brand right there.
Yeah.
Like that's the
He was marketing this bad boy
yeah.
persona.
It
Yeah.
sounds a lot. Remember when Drake made the motto? It
Yeah,
sounds like
yeah.
YOLO.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It sounds something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I again, like, just to even add on to that, I don't see how what he's doing is different from someone going abroad to get a girl. It is different in terms of the person financing it, but what I'm trying to say is
Yeah, I think yeah,
would it be manipulation from the guy to go abroad
and get a girl and then bring her back to his country?
yeah, and bring her back
No, but this is
to
the
be
thing.
his wife?
I think the part that is treacherous here comes in because he's doing this with multiple girls and bringing them in specifically for a business when he's promising relationships that he's not really committed to, and he's just using that as a prop to get them to do this business to make money for him. I think that's where it gets a bit sticky. But if he's honest with the girls, as he's very evidently saying that, look, I have all these other girls. And if the girls know that they're not the only girl in that situation, then that makes sense. It's fair enough. He was very honest and transparent. But to me, what is more likely is he kept every girl by telling them, I only want you. The other girls are just here for the business. I don't like them. And you tell all the other girls the same story to get them all in line and keep that level of control and financial control over them. I think that makes more sense. Personally, but we don't know. We're just speculating. We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and to even add on to your point earlier, like let's take that on for a second that he actually did that. I would actually see a lot more girls up in arms when all this came out to like and hit the fan. I expected that.
No, but again, yeah, but whether no, because they probably don't. Again, they probably just think, but I made loads of money, so I don't really care anymore. You know what I mean? Okay. He's probably smoothed over those relationships moving forward. Like after the whole breakdown of those relationships, probably smoothed them forward because they probably made loads of money with him, and they probably feel some type of gratitude because they probably never made as much money as they did without him. So they have a level of loyalty to say, look, obviously the relationship didn't end up the way I wanted it to end up. He had other girls, but at the end of the day, I made loads of money, and he did treat me well with respect, even though obviously he had this business and he had all these other women. I still got treated with respect and not disrespected. So they kind of, as they say, they're gentlemen. They treat people with respect. So if they're treating her with respect, but obviously on the slide doing this other shit, overall the experience was positive. So they might think, there's no need for me to go out my way to chase this shit because I already made loads of money. So they're not on that wave. You know what I mean? And if these women are in relationships currently, I'm pretty sure their current boyfriends don't want them exposing themselves as the girls who were with Andrew Tate and da. So they might have a level of protectiveness to say, look, I don't want you exposing yourself to all this hate online, and then I'm going to have to be the guy who is with you and be looked at like as almost a cuck because I wifed up the leftovers of Andrew Tate. You know what I mean? So it's a bit mad. It's a sticky one. But anyway, I'm going to move on to the next topic here, which is where he describes what he stands for and what his real message is. And the lady responds with saying that cigars plus cars equals misogyny. Let's check this out. This is mad. This is mad.
When you're teaching,
Well, that's absolute garbage. I have never, ever encouraged a student to attack a teacher, male or female, ever. I preach hard work, discipline. I'm an athlete. I preach anti-drug. I preach religion. I preach no alcohol. I preach no knife crime. Every single problem with modern society, I'm against. I'm teaching young men to be disciplined, to be diligent, to listen, to train, to work hard, to be exactly like me, with no criminal record, never even yet charged in this 14-month Matrix investigation. And I'm saying that if men grew up like me, which are hardworking and diligent and emotional control and stoic, we're going to have a better society, not a worse society. To sit here and say that schools in England, which is a failing nation, which has knife crime going through the roof, violence going through the roof, men's mental health going through the roof, and they're going to all blame me because I appeared on the internet 1 year ago, is disingenuous. It's disingenuous. And also,
financial success with a Bugatti and a cigar, but it comes with a side order of misogyny.
How does having a Bugatti and a cigar come with misogyny?
Because it's all mixed together in what you teach. You teach that if a woman comes home and accuses you of cheating, you should hit her with a machete, shove her off.
Is that what I teach?
That's what you say.
No, if you actually watch the clip,
you've got
it will be
the
about the
video.
woman attacking me with a machete. As usual, you've not watched the video, taken it out of context, flipped it, and attempted to attack me with a small excerpt. Let me tell you something, Lucy. I'm sure you're a very nice person. I'm sure you're a fantastic person. But if I were to take everything you've ever said online and just take small excerpts out of context, I could make you look like a misogynist.
Okay. That was a great scene, and he clearly highlighted exactly what he stands for. So we're gonna go from the beginning to the end. So he highlights what he stands for, which is discipline. Treating people with respect, being honorable. Like the core of his message is that. The core of his message is that, and earning financial freedom to where you yourself as an individual can live life on your terms and have the life you want. He said this multiple times. If a man is happy, truly happy within himself, working a 9-to-5 job, having a wife and 3 kids or 2 kids, and is genuinely happy about that, great for him, because he's achieved the life goal that he wanted, and he's living a life on his terms, the best way he knows how, and he's fulfilled. And that's the message. And for her to then add in that the fact that he's promoting himself with a car, his Bugatti, and a cigar in mouth, comes with a side order of misogyny, is a bit mad. Because this is the problem I have. When it's almost like telling men that once you become successful and then you realize, look, I have value, intrinsic value, and now I can set boundaries to have relationships within the bounds that I want them to be, it's not by force. It's by choice. I tell you, this is what I expect from the relationship. This is what I expect from you as my partner. And these are the terms and conditions of this relationship. If you accept, you understand this is what it's going to be. And if the women accept, they have then chosen of their own free will to be part of this relationship. If then they don't like the terms and conditions at some point in the relationship, they are free to leave. Hence, Mr. Tate, as he said, he's not been charged within these past 14 months because it's hard to build a case when loads of people are not really coming out like that. If he's been treating these ladies very, very poorly, you would find that more and more of them would be coming out after this case popped off. But it's silent. It's quiet out here in these streets. Why? What's your take?
I mean, it's, to be quite fair, it's actually so ironic that every scenario that she brought up, I actually watched the clip and I'm like, I know this. I'm like, I know what he's talking about. You can't, like, I know what you're trying to do, but don't go here because, and it was kind of beautiful to see him twist it around because I've seen a lot of creators, like some genuine creators, like be taken out context, and it's the worst one. But in regards to the misogyny comment and in regards to being successful, I actually don't see anything. Let me put out this little caveat here. Put a clip on this. Put a pin on this. There are actually men out there that do abuse their power and
100%.
Their success.
100%.
And I think that's the knee-jerk reaction from the people that are reacting like this because they are afraid of those
type of
individuals, not realizing that men, like pretty much every other thing, we're not a monolith. Like we are not. God didn't create us with copy and paste. We are literally all different individuals, born from different cultures, and have different ways of living. I can never, in my wildest dreams, imagine, clapping my. I can't. I just can't. I'm not on top of that. I'm a pacifist. All those things. I know I'm making this a bit anecdotal, etc. Like intrinsic, but I would put my foot down and say, look, listen, I have this boundary. Do not cross it. When you cross it, you're seeing my back. Going out that door, and that's it, all done. Now, let's say that she was in the scenario of where I was giving her money and she wasn't working because I was successful, etc. She'll be cut off from that. You understand what I mean? And then people are like, oh, that's financial abuse. And I'm like, no, it's not. Because just because you walk into this relationship does not mean you can walk all over me. Does not mean you can do what you pretty much please like,
and this is interesting.
My personhood, you can't destroy my personhood. Like,
if I can pick up where you're going here,
no,
I just want to add on here because later on she has the the goal to say that women online have said once their boyfriend started listening to Andrew Tate, that they changed and then they became toxic. This is the funny thing, and I know exactly what happened in those relationships. With the T, what happened is those men were getting walked all over in those relationships. They realized, I have value. I am a person who has intrinsic value, and I don't need to be treated like this X, with the woman being disrespectful, mistreating them, or treating them like a piece of shit. They say, no, I'm taking a stand. I have boundaries. These are my boundaries. I have self-respect now, and I'm moving in this direction. Those women do not like that the man has taken that stance because of this newfound confidence given to them by Andrew Tate, because they're inspired. Now they feel like, oh, now I'm getting oppressed because he was not like this before. No, funny thing is, before he thought being passive is the way to please, to be like nicey nice. He was a simp. Essentially, he was a simp. And he realized, I don't have to be a simp. And when he found his balls and decided to make boundaries for himself, then it's a problem for the woman, because now she can't do what she wants in the relationship because there's consequences. Essentially, not physical consequences, but the fact that the man is saying, look, if you do X, I'm gonna leave. I want to be out of this relationship.
I mean, again, like, I'm not saying that men are perfect or anything like that. There probably is a tiny minuscule, and I
100%
to this. There probably is a tiny minuscule that took its message to the extreme.
100%, 100%.
But I find it, but to be fair to the women as well, because you did bring up an interesting point where you said that they changed.
The man actually changed. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, the man actually changed. Now, if you had a preconceived idea about somebody and then they became something else,
yeah,
in credit to the women, that is actually quite frightening, because whether we like to admit or not, there has been some give or take negotiation going on, right?
In relationships.
To build up to this point before they met Tate, you know what I mean? So there might have been a little balance that has been struck. We don't know how the woman was treating him, whether he was mistreating or anything like that. We don't know that. But the point is, she was used to a certain way
of living,
and then this happened. It could be, and I do think, because of what Tate preaches, I actually would agree that it would be something to do with
more boundaries.
Who he actually is as a person and who he wants to be as a person. That has been, switched on somehow, and then he decides, like, right, I'm doing this, I'm implementing this because I'm tired of not necessarily tired, is because I want this to be who I am. Now they could have approached it hostile or nice, but let me go and play devil's advocate and say they approached it in a hostile manner. Yeah, they're not gonna
some probably did, the minority probably did.
They're not gonna win anyone over like that, but their message in their head would be, as long as I'm standing up for myself, I do not care. Do you know what I mean?
That's the key. And I think the interesting thing here is, like, this woman, she brought up a great point in asking that question, but at the end of the day, you can't ask that question, because no matter the country, no matter the place, no matter the teacher, if someone is a good teacher, there's always going to be bad students. There's always going to be bad students. No matter how good the teacher is, there's going to be that one kid who doesn't fucking want to listen. So Tate could have put out the best message, the most spick-span message, and some of the people who listen to his message use that in a harmful way. Same thing has happened with religions, Islam, same thing has happened with Christianity. The Knights of the Templar going around killing people, like it's supposed to be, that's supposed to be doing it. Like, people do these things where they take a narrative that has been a positive message and use that to perpetrate atrocious acts. Absolutely. That is 100% possible. But to sit there and attribute all that to this one person, no, people need accountability for their own actions. And as he said, this is what the internet does. There's going to be a vocal minority on the internet who take his message to the absolute and move mad.
Yeah,
and that's to be expected with anything.
Like, and this is actually very interesting, because this conversation parallels beautifully with what I saw on the WarCraft pod not so long ago. And this was the first time watching it, like the full stream, right? I was watching it when Amala and Elukuma, I don't know her name. I don't know her last name, is like so hard to pronounce. I'm sorry, Amala, but she is a speaker for PragerU, and she appeared on the show, and she was talking to this girl that was in I don't know how she closed it, but I think it was in an open relationship, and she was listening to Andrew Tate. At first, her words was at first, and then she started listening to this guy. I'm not sure if you know him. He's called Coach Corey Wayne. I've
heard him. Yeah.
I actually listened to him a lot more, and she says that she subscribed more to Coach Corey Wayne, but the main idea was because the guy was providing her with everything that she wanted to do. She was still young, so she was getting money from
parents,
from her dad. So, but the main idea was the men in my family are, providing for me. I get to be the actual feminine woman that I want to be. I want to embrace that, and I want to feel that. And it felt so good to have a man that was taking me out and paying for everything, and I just didn't have to worry about that. I didn't have to worry about XYZ. And she also they asked her, "Oh, how old is the guy?" I think he said 19. So in my head, I was thinking, "Oh, these people are well off. They come from an upper class background, or whatever." But the point was, she was catered to so much. Like, she allowed him, and this is where I guess all the panel except for Amala were a bit triggered. You know what I mean? Because she said the guy was allowed to sleep with whoever she wants, and I hope I'm not misquoting her here, but she said can sleep with whoever he wants because he's got me here, and he knows that and she knows that she'll always be with him. Do you know what I mean? And she says, as long as it's a one-time thing, that sort of thing. If it's a regular thing, then
it's a problem.
They'll have to break off. And then she was like, I'm all for that. We both agree. I was like, yeah, fine, because she says, listen, guys are guys. They will if they want to, they will do it. So
if an opportunity presents itself and they understand that there's a high probability they will never get caught, it's highly likely that they will pursue that entanglement for the night.
So the other girls in that were saying you're being brainwashed because he's not allowing you to go out and do the same, etc. And she's like, yeah, but I don't want to go out and do that.
That's the difference.
Like she actually said, I don't want to go out and do
that's
that.
The key.
Because end of the day, if I lose this guy, I want to get the next guy. And if I go out and do exactly what he's doing, I'm not going to stand a chance. And the way she put it down, I was like, this is interesting.
No, because it's smart.
Because it's like she owns up to all of it, and I'm like, it's not possible that she's manipulated.
No. I think she understands intrinsically that he wants to do certain things, and she accepts him for who he is and what he wants to do. And she knows herself she doesn't want to do things that are disingenuous just to please society and be like a societal pleaser and say, I'm just doing this to be equal to you and to be the same as you. No, she doesn't. She intrinsically doesn't want to go and sleep around, so she doesn't do it.
I think she said her body count was 2. And he was the second guy. So I was really they're both under 21. So I was really surprised by that.
Yeah.
And I think what she last said was, because this is when she brought up Coach Corey Wayne, and she was hampering on him, saying, no, I actually watched. He introduced me to Coach Corey Wayne. And from there, she started watching Tate, but she was mainly on Coach Corey Wayne. And I'm like, yeah, Coach Corey Wayne does actually but he never, the one thing I do know about Coach Corey Wayne is he does not preach cheating.
Oh, no, 100%. Yeah,
100%. I haven't heard him do it.
100%.
And I've read his book.
I, as a good Christian, do not preach cheating as well. It's just, it's not.
Oh, if I didn't caveat that, believe me, I am against.
Yeah, we do not promote cheating.
But I will.
But understand that there's a possibility that it could happen to you.
But I will give credit to her, because she did say, no, the guy, the minute that she said the most interesting thing, which was I think she said that when they agreed to this, it's like the guy didn't even want to do it.
Yeah.
Because, and then she's like, to her, she's just like, I'm not testing him either.
It's just his freedom to do if he feels like doing it.
I literally just give him the option, and he's got the option. It's like an option to buy. You want to
Yeah, either buy or you don't.
do it, or you don't. So
That's good. That's
when
good.
she broke it down, I'm like, this guy is not gonna cheat on her.
No, 100%. Because I think the fact that it's not even forbidden fruit anymore takes away the mystique of doing it for
Absolutely.
most individuals. So there's no race, there's no like heart palpitations. It's just like it's almost feels like extra effort to do something out your way that you don't really need to do. But it's again, human psychology is very interesting that way. That if you give people the option to do something, they're less likely to do it if they really don't feel like it's going to add any value to their lives. But I think we need to get onto the last bit. We're going to skip the next topic. We're going to talk about the Hustle University.
Sorry for rambling there.
No, it's all right. We're just going to go straight to the charity clip and talk about what he describes and how he does charity and whatnot, and why he's now talking about it.
The BBC didn't include this, did they?
They didn't include this in their version about him doing charity, but
Lord.
it's here in the full version. And let's just hear it out real quick. 2 seconds. Go.
Thousands of times.
Since you came out of custody, there seems to have been a lot about your charity work.
Correct.
On your social
I've
media.
always done the charity work, but now I'm promoting it.
There seems to be a real shift.
Yeah.
I wonder what's behind that.
Well, I've always done the charity work. I've been doing the charity work for years. I believe that it's my legacy to leave a positive influence on the world, and I've been doing charity work for over 5 years. Post my incarceration, my unfair, unjust incarceration, may I add. Post that, I've made it more clear the charity work I'm doing. But this is once again, very interesting. I spend $25 million a year feeding children, men, male children, and female children. In Turkey, in Syria, in Iran, and Iraq, I literally spend $25 million a year feeding children. And I'm still the worst man in the world because 4 years ago I made a sarcastic comment.
Because some people would look at that and say, okay, so before you got money from attracting people to your website by making controversial comments, but that might have got you into trouble. And so now you're looking for a new market. You're looking for a new market of followers who are attracted by a different sort of persona.
We'll leave that there. So she goes on and tries to obviously make the claim that the charity work he was doing is for the sole purpose of flexing and changing the narrative on who he is as an individual, when in fact he's stating that he's been doing the charity the whole time, which again I do believe, because we have seen the receipts. Whenever the whole Ukraine war happened, him and his brother, they drove all the way to the Ukraine border to drop off supplies for kids and women. And this doesn't sound like a misogynist here doing these things. It doesn't sound like a misogynist here, going out of his way to help women and children get out of a war-torn country, and also obviously providing an orphanage for kids, which he did, building an orphanage, which he did before this whole thing blew up, and then after obviously he revealed all this information. But again, I feel like it's interesting because he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. Because if he does talk about his charity work, it's like, oh, you're only talking about it because you've been portrayed as this bad person. He's like, no, I've been this good person, but I just never talked about it. The persona that prevailed the social narrative was me being this bad boy. By his own curation, it's him being this bad boy and this, I got the Bugatti and I smoke the cigars and, I get girls. But obviously, with people who've met him, they always say that he's very respectful, he's very, charismatic, but he has a persona. And they've always said, people who've met him, that whenever the cameras go on, he gets in this high energy, he switches on, he starts making the jokes, starts, being the Andrew Tate character that he is. But in his day-to-day, he's, respectful, kind, and an honest guy with the people he's around. So it's very interesting to see that dichotomy between how they're trying to paint him, how he actually is in real life, and how he actually portrays himself on the internet pre this whole situation. So what do you think about him and his charity work and whatnot? And how she's trying to paint him as a you're only doing this because you got caught.
Well, I will say this. I can see why they deleted it, because it's quite obvious that they tried to go through that angle, and they're like, oh shoot, I didn't actually see that response coming, and I didn't know this. It reminds me of I'm not sure if you've seen the Elon Musk interview.
Yes, I remember the Elon Musk interview. Yes,
it's almost spitting image. I think
really similar.
Was from the BBC as well.
Yeah,
and Elon was revealing how much he didn't even do his research on this accounts that was spewing hate and racism and all these things, and he could even name one. And then he's like, oh, it was from articles, when he was saying that, no, I saw them myself. And then he's like, oh, if it was from, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
When I saw that, and I'm seeing this, I'm like, this is like copy and paste of that, because you can tell that this person did not do any groundwork, did not do any research, and it just lends Andrew Tate more and more credibility. Because it shows the state of journalism that we are nowadays. But on top of that, to even go to the charity donations of what you're talking about, they make him more of a martyr, because the one thing that we actually, I think that we hate to see, is to see someone in such a bind that they're completely helpless. Like, you can be the best person on earth, yeah, and just because you decide to like play it up for social media, because he does come forward, he does say, look, I'm doing it for clicks, I'm doing it for,
he did say that it was a 3-stage plan for him to do this persona, get the clicks. Once he gets the clicks, lead people to this path of Hustlers University, where they can learn to be, these virtuous individuals, and learn to be free from, the restraints that life puts on people, and excel. And again, the funny thing is, women can also join Hustlers University. So it's very interesting that the misogynistic angle is not brought up there. The only thing they can't join is the war room, because again, that's just an organization for men. It's like a man's space. And again, women have their spaces. Men should also be allowed to have their own spaces. So he's doing good things for people. So it's a bit mad.
This is the thing. This is the thing that that this society don't like, because they're actually trying to get rid of the man caves. I gotta put quote on it. They're trying to get rid of the man caves, etc. All of these things, and get rid of men's spaces. And that's where the men's rights
activists
are
coming
saying,
in. That's where the men's rights activists are coming in. That men need brotherhoods. But
even with that is being tarnished in a way, because what they've turned the men rights, in my opinion, into is like some hate group against women. And I'm like,
movement.
I've seen. I don't see that. I'm actually seeing them go into get researchers. They're pretty proactive with this. They get researchers to go into, at least over here, go into Parliament, try and get legislation rewritten so that it can accommodate men more when it comes to situations of abuse, when it comes to looking for a place to, all those things. Like, it's not about, and I'm not even trying to advocate for men's, for MRAs. I'm just saying,
fuck men, right?
No.
Men are trash.
What I'm trying to say is, like, from what I'm seeing and from the reality, it's a massive disconnect. And it's the same thing here with Tate, because he has shown receipts that he's been doing charity work for years. He dropped it. So all they had to do was look it up and be like, okay, how can we approach this? Because we know it exists. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think this person even knew that it existed, because her reaction said it all to me.
She looked shooketh, yes.
Yeah,
I think someone did the research for her, filled her in on the most important parts, and gave her the sheet of what she needs to ask him, the questions she needs to ask him, and she took the job on. And I feel like she was ill prepared. What she should have done is a tactic Destiny often employs whenever he goes on Fresh and Fit, which is a very good thing that people should do more often, is whenever you go into spaces where you're interviewing someone who's considered a controversial figure, you need to first build rapport with that individual. Get on a friendly basis to where they feel like you are trusting. They feel like they can trust you and you can trust them. So whenever you ask the tough questions, once you start with the more complimentary questions about building them up as an individual, then at the back end you can ask the tougher questions where they'll feel like, look, this person gave me an equal shake to present myself as the person I view myself as. And then at the back end of that, you can ask the tough questions, and they'll be more likely to engage in those questions because they feel like, look, this person has been fair to me this whole time, giving me a platform. Instead of trying to trap him with these questions, asking him, the first thing she should ask them is, who is Andrew Tate? Who do you see yourself as? And what do you think you've been portraying to the world? Let him express who he is, and then take from that what you will, and then from then talk about the contradictions that have arisen and ask him, was this satire or not? He says, no, yes, it was. You move on. You don't harp on it and try and entrap individuals. If it's satire or if it's not, that will come out whenever the court case is resolved. But they're trying to come in on this shady angle and try and peg him into this one corner, when again, that's not fair. Journalism, as we know, has come to this point where it's obviously trying to paint people and paint narratives that it feels like are beneficial.
Yeah.
And clearly the Tate resistance is strong, which is interesting as well.
I mean, I'll be fair to not Sophie, sorry. I'll be
Lucy.
fair to Lucy here for a second. I think like Tate had to play a role in being this overt like problematic, like because he knew what would go viral.
I wonder if
And
this would have happened if Kevin Samuels was still alive.
no, absolutely not. But going back to I'll get back to that because that's a
No, that's a video for another day. That's a video for another day.
That's a good tangent that they throw out, and I would love to discuss that. But to finish the point I was saying, it seems like Lucy doesn't actually, and I think Tate even saw it himself. He's like, you don't seem like a bad person, because I think she had a role to play. I think she was prepped to play that role and
No,
get in his face, get in that, because you have feminist groups, you have rape societies you had all those people. Do not be fair to this guy because it will look bad on them. It will look bad on these people.
No, 100%. And that's the thing.
If you're giving, so I think if she wasn't linked with as much as affiliated with the BBC and with the BBC in turn affiliated with all these people,
other organizations,
I think it would have been a
different interview. I think she really loathed him, and you can tell on her face she loathed him. She came in with a loathing. She didn't like this guy. She already had a preconceived notion of who he is. Instead of as an interviewer coming in with a blank slate and trying to get to know, she should have done a Patrick Bet David. Patrick Bet David is such a good interview because he wants to know the individual through them, not through what he's seen online of who they are or what the online presence has said. He comes in and tries to get to know you for who you are. That's what she should have done. Tried to get to know him for who he is, and if he was portraying himself to be a false person, that would have come out through his own words and he would have entrapped himself. Because again, most people who talk for a long time, they trap themselves in some sticky situations. So yeah, it's a bit mad. I think she didn't come with genuine cause to get to know him and understand his situation and understand the situation at large. She came with a narrative, and it is what it is. And that showed when at the end of the interview, he decided he wanted to shake her hand, and she said, no, she's good. Andrew was enough of a person to say, I know you came with a narrative, but I don't hate you because you came with a narrative. I'll still shake your hand. He took the high road, and then they took the low road. Like, I'm not going to shake your hand because you're a misogynist pig. It's very interesting. The people who want to take the moral high ground are not willing to show grace and to show an understanding for other people. The people who are apparently on the lower ground, the misogynists and whatnot, are willing to let go of their feelings towards the person and the narrative they came with and treat the person with compassion. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Boy,
it's a mad one.
That did shock me because I actually thought at least because you are representing the BBC, so
so you need to come in with
Yeah, but I think this even goes to what I said, because I mean I understand you're looking into the loathing part, etc., and she's not an actress, so I'll say that's,
you can see it on her face, man. Like there was even on the breaks they were having, she was not smiling. She did not like it. Andrew was cracking jokes saying, you know what, I'm enjoying this, Lucy. But she was just there like stoic. She was like, this is annoying me. You're not answering my questions.
Stoicism, by the way. I don't think that's stoicism.
No, that's not. No, she was triggered. She was triggered.
That's content.
She was triggered. But she wasn't responding, is what I'm saying. At the end of the day, I feel like this interview obviously was shambles. They didn't do very well. And I think we're going to end it around here and just say the BBC really tried to portray a certain narrative. The people in the comments in the BBC video came forth and gave their 2 cents and said, hey, this man, whatever happens with this court case, what I've taken from him has improved my life, has saved my life, has made me a better person, has made me move with a bit more dignity and respect, and more respect for others, and treat others with more respect, and become more of a provider and a person that takes care of other people instead of tries to take away from other people. That's what people were saying in those comments. And the BBC looked stupid. And rightly so, they took down the video because, again, it looked like poor reporting from their side. So all I'll say is we don't know how this case is going to turn out with Tate. The conclusion is coming up on the 30th. Whatever happens, it is what it is. We're not the courts of Romania. They're going to decide what they're going to decide with the evidence that is presented to them, and whenever the court case comes out, we will all have a chance to see what evidence was brought to them. And if they don't release the evidence that was brought to them that causes a conviction or a non-conviction, it will look a bit shady. It will look a bit shady either way. So it is what it is. We're going to leave it there. Dr. Hines, anything you'd like to say as we close this show out?
I mean, just two things. One, I wish it was Coach Corey Wayne that was actually being pushed on the forefront, because I actually do believe, like, I think he's the, if you want to look up to anyone, it would be him.
I think Alex Hormozy is a very good person to look up to.
I will look him up. I've just been following, I've read his book and I've rebuilt on it. I'm not complete, so there is always different motivators I can use. But second thing would be, Twitter me, Dr. Hines Official, everywhere else. But yeah, thank you for having me.
It was good.
It's been a pleasure.
It was a good show.
We will do this again.
No, 100%. It was a good show, guys. And guys, don't forget, guys, whenever you go through life, treat people with respect. People who have differences, people who are not the same as you. You are allowed to have different opinions than other people, but do not denigrate people for the positions they take. They have a different worldview than you. You can't argue worldviews because, again, we're all different people. We have our own nuances. Our paths through life are different. So we respect each other. We move through life with dignity, and we respect everyone for the choices they make. And we wish them the best in their lives, happiness and fulfillment. And with that, I will leave you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. It has been your boy King, and this is King Reacts to the World. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.